Everyone, my name is Ruchi Acharya and I'm the founder of Wingless publisher.
Hi, Ruchi. Yes, this is Alex. So, thank you for accepting a lot of my poetry. But
Hello.
Hello, John is here. I can see you. Let's just get started, by wholeheartedly welcoming you all to this online poetry workshop, which is Mastering the Art of Poetry. So, I'm Ruchi Acharya, as I stated, and I'm thrilled to guide you through this enriching journey to explore what makes poetry truly impactful and memorable. Because for me personally, poetry is like a plethora of memories and as well as numerous signs of expressions. Of course, please be respectful to other community members, no matter where they come from, which country, what walks of their life. Please do not judge, have an open mindset because here we are here to learn something new. And again, we all are poet laureates, we all are book lovers. So, that is the common ground. So, before we get started, of course, know your host, who am I, where I come from, and what is this Wingless Dreamer is all about. Basically, back in 2019, I started this very own Wingless Dreamer publishing company. I don't even like to use the word company, rather, community is much more give you the sensation of belonging or being a part of the society. So I would say it's a Wingless Dreamer publishing community. Because again, artists, writers, poets, they come from all around the globe to forge this. And again, unlike tradition publishing or vanity publishing, we don't just pay and get your stuff published out there. No, we don't do that. Here, we held monthly writing contest based on numerous themes, and it is specifically curated by our editors who are deeply passionate about writing themselves. And more than editors, we are a group of poets and writers, again from across the globe. I have always seen this vision where we can bring the poem from the black and white pages or gray pages of the website into something that we can touch, feel. So we are on Spotify. We talk about numerous literary topics, whether it's Egyptian literature or Sanskrit or Hindi literature, or the authors who have won Nobel Peace Prize. We discuss intensively about their work, so please feel free to hop in. We have YouTube videos as well, which is again a free platform to learn about English literature in general. So this is what we are doing, and every day is a new day, and it truly gives me a sense of pride and waking up every single day to do this. So I'm happy in this world. This is what Wingless Dreamer Publisher is all about. Follow us on your social media platform. Help us to join our Garden of Poets. Before we begin, let me quickly give you an overview of the workshop. First is imagery. Then we will understand what is rhythm and meter, because I personally think that is the backbone of the poem. Third would be revision of the different forms of poetic devices, followed by what is poetic structure. And lastly, we will talk in depth about emotion and theme. Without any further ado, let's get started. So, our first topic is imagery. Let me ask you, in your own terms and definitions, forget about the bookish language. When I say imagery, what comes to your mind?
I think for me, imagery is not only the visual aspect of it. It's the use of the other senses as well, because what we hear and smell and we feel through touch also becomes a part of imagery for me anyway.
What imagery means to me in simple words. So, imagery is nothing but in poetry, it is using words to create vivid pictures or sensory experiences in the reader's mind. So what I feel it as imagery is that poetic aspect that allows our readers to visualize the whole setting of the poem, like where it is taking place, what is the surrounding, what all the sensory experiences one can feel through my poetic verses. So again, imagery is that part of the tool of your poem that gives the intensity and depth. And again, it will try, because once you captivate the reader's intensity, then you can evoke it, like don't take it in other way, but you have to play with the reader's feeling in a good way. Let us understand with a better example. Here in this beautiful poem, titled I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth. A host of golden daffodils beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. So here you can see imagery is used to create this beautiful picture as I read it. Here, if you notice, like the golden daffodils are used. Why the word golden? Like you can see here, Mr. William Wordsworth, he's trying to emphasize on the color. Instead of just writing daffodils or flower or anything, no, golden. Golden again, daffodils are yellow in color. Yellow is a bright color. Colors, these all elements plays a huge role when it comes to jotting down on the poetry. Yellow is a happy color. And again, golden, by using the golden, maybe the sun is shining out brightly. That's why it's making the field of daffodils look golden. Or it can varies its meaning from person to person, because everyone holds a different perspective. So again, moving on to the next line, when the poet says the phrases beside the lake and beneath the trees. So you can see how cunningly the poet tried to provide a specific setting, like beside the lake and beneath the trees. It is giving you the location. So when you will read the entire poem, when you will read these lines, you get unknowingly you are building this imagination. Where is the setting? You may feel like, if you really focus and read these poems and really endorse yourself into the poetic lines, that you are into it. You are into the specific setting. Then comes in the next line, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Again, this evokes a sense of motion and liveliness. Because again, we are reading just a set of words. So, how can we make these poetic verses more lively? How can we add more sense of emotions to it? So, henceforth, we have imagery for that. These imagery appeals to the reader's senses of sight and touch, allowing them to visualize and almost feel the scene as if they were there. It is crucial for poets to learn how to engage the reader's senses, allowing them to truly feel and experience the poem. Let's jump on to a quick exercise. Let's just think of a simple scene like a rainy day. Now, describe this scene using imagery. Once again, I want to remind every one of you, like imagery, like for that, you have to focus on, it's a rainy day. Focus on the sights, sounds, smell, and feelings associated with it. Starting the timer, you will get only 2 minutes to accomplish this. All right, the time's up. Please feel free to unmute your mic and share.
Alex, I want to go first.
All right,
So
Alex.
so Ruchi did see a lot of my writing before, and this just shows how great I am at poetry. So let me read this in the chat. The rain might bring about pain, but the silver lining that comes after the clouds pass away offers the bright light of sunshine that could provide hope as a way to cope, for the opportunity to sing and dance during rainy weather, to weather a storm, as well as reform. Thank you.
Wow, that's really beautiful, Alex. Thank you so much. Oh, we have James. Please take the stage.
Okay. Unusual thunder shook the house as clouds opened and a torrent of rain fell, drooping the roses in our garden, creating streams of water in our streets.
Well, thank you, James, for sharing it. And I must say, while you were reciting it, I don't know, for some reason, I feel like I was back in my childhood. It really felt so relatable, especially the last line. Thank you so much, James. All right.
I should go.
Oh, hi, Shreya.
Oh,
Yes,
shall
please
I?
feel
Hi.
free to.
Coincidentally, it's also raining out there, so I can totally even feel the emotion of being in those rainy days, though it's very always hard on me because it's very gloomy outside, but still I wrote something and I hope it is good. Raindrops dance in the pavement, weaving a melody soft and slow, whispering secrets to the earth below. The words feel hushed, wrapped in a tender glow.
Wow, thank you so much, Shreya. That's beautiful indeed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shreya. All right, who's next? We have few poetic verses here on chat that I would quickly like to read. Ali has written, "The world pours itself onto me, clean, refreshed, and slippery. It pounds the ground around me, then seeps into its core sneakily." Thank you so much, Ali, for sharing with us your poetic verses. It's beautiful. Then we have Mike. Mike, would you like to read it?
Yeah, I can read it. Let's see here. Raindrops dripping from pink roses plunk into my hand and fall onto my new white squeaky sneakers, a shower of scent bringing me new life.
Thank you so much, Michael. And again, it's really beautiful. Oh my God, we have like a born poets here. I feel amateur as a host. It's really beautiful. It's also giving me new insight. Like I'm also learning through this workshop, actually. All right, we have a hands up. Haliat, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. Please feel free to unmute and go ahead.
Right. The breeze blew gently as it brings forth a flip-flop splatter. The serene feeling it creates suits my need. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Haliat. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll go.
Lovely, lovely.
Okay. The rat-a-tat-tat of summer's rain spills forth haze from the land. No, I got that all wrong. See, it's my writing that's terrible here. The rat-a-tat-tat of summer's rain spills forth haze from arid land. The earth and air, in delightful aroma, garnishes hope of daffodils' seasonal growth. That was quick.
Thank you, John, for sharing such a beautiful verses. Amazing. All right, we have many more poem, but let's move forward a bit. But again, here, like even if you take an example from any poem that has been shared in the chat box, like everyone has already been using, like we are using the sound, the color, whether it's a dark secluded clouds or black pagan sky. You know, these are the phrases that you, again, with practice should naturally comes to your mind, like how can I make a rainy day sound so pleasing to readers' ears. And again, by pleasing doesn't necessarily have to mean that you have to sugarcoat stuff and always write the positive and the happy side of it. Again, you can also express grief, sadness, melancholy, like, with the proper usage of imagery. Henceforth, that is what imagery is for, to imagine things, to make the most use of the sensory, to give the sensory experiences to the readers. Moving on to the next topic. So let's move forward. Next comes rhythm and meter. I really want everyone to pay attention to this one because it's a bit tricky and extremely bamboozling the way you pronounce, because it all relies on the way you pronounce the words. Again, personally, I would say it's a technicality of the poem, and it is also equally significant because without rhythm and meter, poetry is not poetry. What actually make the difference between a poetry and a short story or any form of story is that poetry has rhythm, it has meter. And rhythm, again, it doesn't necessarily, many people have this prerequisite knowledge that like rhythm means rhyming. No, or like poetry means rhyming. No, not necessarily. Rhythm is more like giving beat to the poetry. I would say it's the heartbeat of a poem. So again, before we jump onto the bookish definition, rhythm is basically, if you really want to excel into the rhythm and meter, you really need to develop your vocabulary. Now you may wonder, like, Ruchi, what are you talking about? How does vocabulary has to do with rhythm and meter? But hear me out. So when you are composing a poem, when you have to choose your words wisely. And again, by choosing the word wisely means like your vocabulary has to be up to the notch. Because again, for example, there is this particular line and you should know the different synonyms so that without changing the meaning of that particular poetic verse or particular sentence, you can use the synonyms, keep the meaning intact, and as well as keeping the rhythm and meter balanced. So as per my personal reference, I would strongly advise, there are so many free materials available online for SAT and GRE. You may laugh, but trust me, the study material that SAT and GRE, like, it will really help you to develop good vocabulary. That's like a free hack that you can use. And again, as I was saying, that you have to sound like rhythm helps your poetic structure to poems to sound pleasing to ears with meaning. And again, for that, you have to be an open dictionary where all the synonyms flow gracefully without a hiccup. And in order to accommodate rhythm and meter or perfectly balancing it out in your poem, you don't necessarily have to compromise with the main essence and granularity of the poem. Don't change the meaning of the poem, don't change the theme of the poem just to make it sit right with the rhythm and meter. Because again, the theme, it is also equally important. So again, like I said, it's kind of tricky, but with practice and with time, it requires practice. This one definitely requires a lot of practice. So what is rhythm? What is rhythm and meter? These are patterns of stressed and unstressed syllables. And you can also say that these are structured beats in a poetry. Understanding rhythm and meter can enhance the musicality and overall impact of your work. Okay, like it should sound very pleasing, like as the reader is narrating or reading, even in his or her mind. It should flow smoothly. Here, rhythm, it is basically where you put the stress in a word or a line. For example, belong. I belong to India. I belong to so-and-so company. When just say it out loud, like just practice. Whenever I'm practicing, like here, like I said, you have to be vocal. Don't just read it, like just say it out loud wherever you are, like make a sentence out of it. The voice is so fragile. So you will notice that unknowingly and unintentionally, you are emphasizing like in belong, long, fragile, fra. So here B is unstressed syllable and long is stressed syllable. The red ones are stressed one. This workshop, I have specifically selected two important ones that we usually see in American and British poetry. One is iambic meter and one is trochaic meter, which is also known as iamb and trochee. So first, let's discuss what is iambic meter. Iambic meter is nothing but unstressed syllable followed by a stressed one. Da-da. You can also call it as a rising rhythm, as you are rising the word, like while pronouncing it, you are kind of slightly raising your voice. It's rising, the rhythm is rising here. So we have few examples. And again, as I narrate, please recite it along with me. Belong, today, destroy, delay. Indeed. So you can see that we are stressing on the ending more than the beginning. So in this case, this is called as iambic meter. Next is a trochaic meter, which is also known as trochee. Here is just the opposite of iamb. So stress followed by unstressed. So it would be like dudder. So it's also called like falling rhythm. Fragile, ankle, fruitful, panther, highway. So here you can see again, like the beginning of the words are like they are stress followed by unstressed label. If simply put, a stress label would be on the beat and unstressed label will be off the beat. Like you can see, I'm almost, eating up the last word, like fruitful. Like I'm not even finishing the last word entirely. Like it's because, it's degrading. It's a falling rhythm.
Yes, let me explain something. Oh, but just give me a second because I just want to show everybody the cutest teddy bear ever. Mr. Bear, say hi to everybody. Okay, so the thing about meter and rhythm is that I learned from somewhere that songs are like musical poetry because the song lyrics when it's accompanied by a song like in a Disney movie or something like that, the truth is that the lyrics of a song are like poetry that goes with the music, like a musical score, like Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid, for example. And then what I wanted to say was that when it comes to rhythm, there needs to be like a beat that makes the words flow because a good poem would actually like flow like the beat of a song or like the water of a river.
That's good. But as Alex has introduced, like the best example is, of course, the songs.
I was going to mention, this is Mike, that rhythm impacts the speed in which the reader reads the poem, especially for the very first time. And so I think it's probably erroneous to say that there's a perfect rhythm. Does that make sense? Or just because it brings you down the page faster doesn't mean that it's necessarily the artistic tool that you are hoping to accomplish and achieve with your writing. There are times I write poems where I just want people to stop right in the middle of the poem, like it's a barricade in the road, and that type of thing. So I think being conscious of rhythm is extremely important. Looking for the optimal perfect rhythm is probably impossible. There is a relationship between rhythm and imagery, though. For example, if I decide to write a poem on swinging in a swing, I can do quite a bit with imagery. I can do more if my rhythm matches the swinging in the swing too.
Thank you, Mike, for bringing that to our attention. Just because you're reading the poem too quickly or you're reaching to the end too quickly, like it's a good rhythm. Rhythm, again, like it depends, like the pace, the flow. It can give you the slow pace to the poetry or fast pace. Again, it all depends upon the poet. You are the poet, so it's in your hand how you want to represent your poem in front of the world. If it's a poem about grief or sadness or remorse or heartbreaks, or betrayal or anything, like not betrayal, but like sad grief, if we are covering this genre. So maybe we can give a slow rhythm there. Like maybe it doesn't necessarily have to go fast, you know. Maybe you might evoke beautiful feeling or some personal feeling, out of a readers or listeners point. Like, it's sad, I'm so sorry, I'm just deviating from the topic, just finishing off. We all are living in this commercialized world, where human emotions are being taken into granted, so I personally believe, like, through writing, whether it's a poem, short story, when you are expressing yourself, you're also bestowing upon the fact that, hey, don't take human emotions for granted. It must be preserved, it must be restored. Be granular, be authentic when you write. Don't chase for getting published into numerous anthologies or with numerous so and so publishers. You don't have to chase the deadline. Just focus on creating a masterpiece through your craft. There were many painters and many poets in the history who took years and years before they come up with the exemplary form of their art. Okay, so next, that brings us to meter. Now, what is meter? Again, meter is a combination of the number of beats plus the arrangement of stress and unstressed syllables in a line of a poetry. So again, you have to really be technical here. You have to take care of the number of beats, like ba-bum, 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 and also like the arrangement of the stress and unstressed syllables. I have an example that I'm soon going to share with you. If it has one stress or unstressed syllable, then it is known as monometer. 2 feet diameter, like unstressed stress, unstressed stress. 3 feet would be trimeter. 4 feet tetra, and so go on. Like, anybody who would like to read this, who knows how to read this, like, shall I, like, because here the stress one I have capitalized and the unstressed are like in small letters. So here we are trying to compare which of the following reading sounds better. So Alex, you raised your hand. Would you like to read this for us, like by focusing on unstressed and stressed syllable?
Yes, because I did take a Shakespeare class in college, and I also took a class about the history of theater. Because I even put this in the chat because my professors actually made me memorize this quote when I was younger. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?
Which one did sound better? The first one here or the second one?
I thought maybe the first one.
All right, I prefer the first one.
Yes, that's good. Okay, we have 2 votes for the first one. Wait, let me quickly see the chat, what's going on. Okay. You can also type, just type it out. Okay, everyone is saying the first one. Sanchari, Gayatri, they voted for the first one. All right,
I
anybody?
don't know, very unpopular, I think, but I don't know why the second one is striking me better. I don't know.
All right, that's totally fine. So 1 vote for second one. Anybody else in the crowd